Hello, everybody. I'm Dr. William Roy, and I want to personally welcome you to this introductory lesson on the course on emotional intelligence for business leaders. Now, some of you are taking the course, so you've paid for it, and this is part of a fuller curriculum for you. And I want to thank you for taking the course. Others of you may be watching this on YouTube or Rumble, because this first introductory lesson I've made available, open sourced, open access for everyone to watch, so that you get a taste of what we're going to do in this course. If you want to continue in this course, I'll put links in the description for where you can access the course. There's two different sites. There's my website that you can go to, royleadership.online, and then we also host it on teachable.com. Both links will be in the description. Let's get going. So again, welcome to our online course on emotional intelligence for business leaders. The purpose of this course is to learn how to develop and enhance our emotional intelligence to become more effective leaders. Now, not all of you will want to be leaders in a formal leadership position, but I'm a firm believer, because the science supports it, that developing leadership skills in our life equips us to get promoted more quickly, to get that raise more quickly, to have better relationships with our spouse, our significant others, or our siblings, or our friends. So learning leadership skills actually sets you up for success in every realm of life, even if you never hold a formal leadership position. Now, emotional intelligence is part of that. It is a skill set, and it is the ability to recognize, understand, and to manage our own emotions, and to recognize the emotions of others and understand how our actions and our words impact others. It's a crucial skill for leaders, and it helps them make better decisions and manage their teams more effectively, manage relationships more effectively, because leadership really is a relationship. And it helps leaders to foster a positive work culture. As I said, you don't have to be a leader to benefit from it. You can help foster that better work culture by developing these skills for yourself, even if you're not a leader and don't desire a leadership position. What I want to do first here is talk about how personality traits relate to emotional intelligence. And you might ask, why do I want to start that way? And that would be a good question. And the reason is there is some criticism of emotional intelligence. And one of the chief criticisms is that personality science already explains it. So some people wonder if emotional intelligence, or EI, is just another way of describing personality traits. To be fair, there is some overlap, such as emotional stability. And emotionally stable people often show higher emotional intelligence. But certain skills in emotional intelligence are distinct from personality type. Now, your personality can change over time in certain areas, but certain other traits seem to be more consistent. Emotional intelligence, on the other hand, is a skill that can be learned, or more accurately, a set of skills that can be learned. So it's a set of specific skills that can be learned and improved over time, no matter what your personality type is. So to clarify this, I'd like to explore how certain personality traits contribute to EI and how others might detract from it. We're going to use the widely recognized Big Five personality traits, or what's more commonly referred to as the 5-factor model of personality. This is the most widely accepted and used model of personality. Now, the Big Five spell the acronym OCEAN, O-C-E-A-N. And they are openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. Now, don't let that last one turn you off. It's not a psychological diagnosis. It's a personality trait. It's really about emotional stability. So let's go through each one and look at how they might impact emotional intelligence. These 5 traits are stable characteristics that shape how we think, feel, and behave. Understand that, as I said, some can change over time as you get older. For example, people tend to get less open and more conscientious. Also, it's important to know that we are all a combination of these personality traits. Some are high in openness, some are lower in openness, and each one is a scale, high to low. No personality trait is right or wrong. It just is what it is. And why I'm going to talk about the high level of these personality traits, you should understand that there's a lot of more refined ways to look at it and elements within each one that make it up. So openness is curiosity, creativity, and openness to new experiences. And that really is the defining characteristic. A person high in openness will be open to new experiences. A person low in openness will not be as open to new experiences. So you can think about yourself. Are you open to new experiences? Do you have a desire to skydive or to learn painting or some other experience that you've never experienced, but you have a desire to do it and you like to try new things? Then you're probably high in openness. If you really like everything to stay the same, constant, no surprises, you're probably lower in openness. Then we have conscientiousness, which really is about self-discipline, organization, and goal-directed behavior. So if you're the kind of person that never misses a deadline, you are very likely high in conscientiousness. If to you a deadline is more a guideline than a deadline, then maybe you're lower in conscientiousness. The third one is extroversion. Again, this is a scale from extroversion to introversion. So someone high in extroversion will be outgoing, sociable, and they gain energy from social interactions. My son frequently tells me that I talk too much and that friends have told me that I never met a stranger. And that's true. I like to meet new people. I like to get into large groups. I like to, like I said, meet new people, find out something about them, share a conversation. An introverted person, though, that would completely wear them out. They would be exhausted from that. So an introverted person usually has a small circle of close friends, but they don't enjoy large groups, socializing. Their idea of socializing is one-on-one. And to be fair, introverts tend to have deeper relationships with their smaller circle, and extroverts tend to have a lot of surface relationships. Number 4 is agreeableness. This can be defined as compassion, cooperation, concern for others. So a highly agreeable person wants to make everybody happy. That is a personality trait. It's not a flaw. It's just how you're wired in your personality. Okay, so I have a friend who really likes to organize social events, and he works the crowd, making sure everybody's happy. Whether he's having a good time or not doesn't matter to him. What matters to him is that everyone else is having a good time. He's very high in agreeableness. Now, the 5th one is neuroticism, which, as I said, is emotional instability and a tendency towards negative emotions. So a person high in trait neuroticism is more prone to stress, worry, and negative emotion. A person low in neuroticism is much less prone to worry and negative emotion. These 5 traits influence how naturally certain aspects of emotional intelligence might come to that person, like self-awareness, emotional regulation, empathy, social skills. Your personality really determines how easily those different things come to you or how difficult or challenging they might be for you. So now EI, as I said, goes a little beyond personality, involving trainable skills that anyone can develop. So even if you're highly introverted, these are skills that you can learn to be better at social interactions. Because in my experience, most introverted people, they learn how to act extroverted in our world, but they need a lot of recharging time. So these are skills that can be learned. Let's dive into how each trait interacts with emotional intelligence. What are the traits that contribute to emotional intelligence? Let's think about openness. How does it help? See, people high in openness are curious, they're imaginative, and it makes them more likely to explore their own emotions and the emotions of others. The trait supports emotional perception. It promotes understanding, which are key EI skills, because they're open to recognizing emotional patterns and adapting to new situations. For example, imagine a manager who enjoys exploring new ideas. They might notice subtle shifts in their team's mood and adapt their approach, like addressing unspoken tension during a meeting. But they'd still need to practice applying this insight effectively, such as resolving conflict or motivating others. And those might be skills outside of emotional intelligence, which we will also have courses on later. Next, let's look at conscientiousness. How it helps is that conscientiousness or conscientious individuals are disciplined and organized, and that helps in emotional regulation. They tend to be a little bit more stoic. They're more likely to plan their emotional responses before they speak and stay composed under pressure, a critical EI skill for leadership. Now, here's a good place to take a small detour and emphasize that great leaders are not people who react emotionally. So an unexpected thing can happen. The leader's not going to burst out in anger or cry or start to worry. The leader's going to consider the facts calmly and casually and respond in a neutral tone. If you tend to react emotionally, then that means that there are skills you still need to develop before you can take on a role of senior leadership. For example, a conscientious leader might prepare for a tough conversation by anticipating their own emotions and staying calm, and anticipating the emotions of the other people. They might need to work on flexibility, though, as overly rigid control can limit spontaneous emotional responses needed in some dynamic situations. How does extroversion help? See, extroverts thrive in social settings. This gives them an edge in social skills and relationship management, which are key EI components. Their outgoing nature helps them read social skills and build rapport effortlessly. An extroverted team leader might naturally energize a group and foster collaboration, but they could deepen their EI by developing empathy and listening skills to ensure they're not just engaging, but truly understanding their team. Agreeableness or agreeable people are compassionate and cooperative, which aligns closely with empathy in EI. They're naturally attuned to other people's feelings, making it easier to build trust and maintain positive relationships. An agreeable manager might instinctively support a struggling team or a struggling team member, but they may need to learn to balance empathy with assertiveness, like setting boundaries and delivering tough feedback. Now, when we get to neuroticism, this is a trait that can detract or take away from emotional intelligence. High neuroticism is linked to emotional instability, anxiety, negativity, and all these can undermine emotional intelligence. Individuals high in this trait often struggle with self-awareness and emotional regulation, and this makes it harder to stay calm and respond effectively in stressful situations. A leader high in neuroticism might overreact to criticism, losing their composure in a meeting. Now, this doesn't mean they can't improve their EI. It just takes effort, like learning stress management techniques, maybe deep breathing, to regain control and to build their own resilience. While these traits influence EI, they don't determine it. Emotional intelligence includes specific skills. Emotional perception, which is recognizing emotions in yourself and others. Emotional facilitation, using emotions to guide thinking and decisions. Emotional understanding, grasping why emotions arise and how they evolve. And then emotional management, which is regulating your feelings and helping others to do the same. These skills can be developed through practice, even if your personality doesn't naturally align with them. For instance, a high neuroticism individual can learn to manage stress and improve self-awareness, overcoming initial challenges. A low extroversion, for example, an introverted person, can build social skills by practicing active listening and empathy, despite preferring solitude. One of the greatest skills that you can learn as a leader or as an individual, and this helps especially if you're an introvert, you don't have to constantly talk about yourself. The best thing that you can do is ask questions, open-ended questions that get other people to open up about themselves. That way you're letting them do the talking. And people always come away thinking you're a great individual, a great communicator, when you allow them to do most of the talking and you do the listening. Ask questions that promote greater conversation. Here's some practical examples of growth. A creative person might excel at understanding complex emotions, but need to practice using this in team settings, like mediating disputes. Maybe you have low conscientiousness, so you might be less organized and might struggle with emotional control, but you can learn to pause and reflect before reacting. If you're low in agreeableness, you're less compassionate, and you might find empathy hard, but you can improve by asking questions and observing other cues. So what does this mean for you? In this course, we'll focus on developing EI skills through practical exercises and strategies tailored to your unique starting point. Whether you're aiming to improve self-awareness by identifying emotional triggers, better regulate emotions to stay composed under pressure, enhance empathy to connect with others, or strengthen social skills to lead effectively, you will gain the tools you need. Personality traits might give you a head start or present challenges, but emotional intelligence is learnable. For example, high neuroticism leaders can master emotional regulation, just as a low agreeableness leader can cultivate empathy and practice. Certain personality traits like openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, and agreeableness can enhance emotional intelligence by supporting skills like empathy and social adeptness. Others, like high neuroticism, can detract by complicating emotional regulation. However, EI isn't just a reflection of your personality. It's a distinct set of skills that you can learn over time. This course will guide you through that process, helping you grow into a more emotionally intelligent leader or individual, regardless of your personality type. Now, research has shown that leaders with high emotional intelligence are more successful. There is about a 30% improvement between leaders with high emotional intelligence and without. Now, 30% may not seem like a lot, but 30% is 30%. It's something. According to a study by Harvard Business School, 71% of employers value emotional intelligence more than technical skills when evaluating candidates. So let's embark on this journey to unlock your full leadership potential through emotional intelligence.